I'm Dr. Kate Rogers. I'm the Executive Director of the Alamo Trust, which is a nonprofit organization. We are devoted to teaching our visitors. We get about 1.6 million visitors per year at the Alamo, teaching them about our history, the full 300 years of everything that has happened on the grounds of the Alamo, and also educating our young children who visit the Alamo. So we make sure that future generations know where we came from and why it's important. Really is about restoring a sense of reverence and respect to the grounds of the Alamo. So it expands the entire site from about 4.5 acres today to almost 2 times that size. It includes the renovations of Alamo Plaza, making it more accessible to the public, adding a community gathering space, a small park, a new education center, a collection center where we have state-of-the-art facilities to be able to house the Alamo collection, and then most importantly, a brand new visitor center and museum that will be 160,000 square feet, and it'll include 8 galleries that tell the story of the Alamo. This plan has been many, many years in the making, and I think in general today, everyone is very excited to see it actually come to fruition. The galleries inside the new Alamo Museum will be chronological in nature. So we start at the beginning of the story with the first indigenous peoples who inhabited that part of Texas some 10,000 years ago. But we have a whole gallery that is really dedicated to Spanish Texas. The arrival of the Spanish in the 1500s, mid-1500s, the development of the missions, and of course the Alamo was a mission before it became a military fort, and many of our visitors don't know that. So we really wanted to make sure that we get the content, the story right, that will be told inside the gallery. We're also in search of artifacts that help to tell that story, and that could be documents, it could be sacramental objects, textiles. So we have this wonderful team of preservationists who are going to work on making sure that we can stop some of the mortar loss and some of the stone loss that's currently occurring within the walls. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of absorption of salt and water into the limestone walls over these 300 years. So there's a lot of work that needs to get done to make sure the structure remains standing. Part of how we arrived at this trip was we have a former ambassador out of Houston, the consul Miguel Masambros, who really helped facilitate this entire trip. And he's part of what we call the Museum Planning Committee. And that group also includes many historians, is really dedicated to making sure that we focus on the stories of real people who were involved in the Alamo and tell those stories in a very memorable and engaging way so that visitors remember what they learned when they came. And originally come to the Alamo to learn more about the Battle of 1836, which is the most well-known event that happened there, learned so much about the Spanish mission period in Texas and how important it was to settling the area. San Antonio today is the 7th largest city in the United States, and to think it all started with about 15 families from the Canary Islands. And then it grew into this huge community. One of my favorite questions we get from visitors is often, why did they put it downtown? Not realizing that the mission was first, and the town and the community grew around it. So we really want to make sure that becomes an important part of the Alamo story and its history, something that people take with them. And we want to make sure that we tell it from the perspective of the Spanish people. I think that's one of the big reasons we're here, is because we wanted to include multiple perspectives in the story that gets told, and we want to make sure that we honor our shared history in the way that Spain would like it represented. The biggest thing has just been how welcoming everyone has been and excited about the project. We've met so many people at all levels, and everyone has been incredibly kind and hospitable with their time, opening the doors, doing research in advance to help make sure that we tell the story completely. So I think that's been one of the most important things. And then establishing these connections, these relationships, so that when we have a question in the future or we're looking for a specific document, we know who to contact, who to call. There's a relationship there. So for us, it's been very successful and very important to our journey. The military archives, really what we saw was a number of really important maps that help tell the story, which is critical, obviously. At the Archivos de Indias, many documents, incredible documents from many, many years ago, not the least of which was the documentation instructing the Canary Island families who originally went to settle the city of San Antonio outside of the Presidio, instructing them exactly what to do, what jobs to have, how much they were to be compensated for those jobs. So it was just really eye-opening. And this shared desire to make sure that Americans, Texans in particular, understand the impact of Spain on our country. Not just in Texas, but really across the United States. And we didn't really know that before we came here. So that's been a really wonderful thing. I've been on many of these curated international trips throughout my career. This was the best trip in that regard. The Fundación did an amazing job. It was busy, and we're a little tired since we're at the tail end of the trip, but it was far and away the best trip I've ever been on.